Hello, Internet. Welcome to another episode of Del Requisite here on Revisions Bonus. Today we are continuing the story of the Fool's Errant, one half of our two-sided campaign here on Del Requisite. Before we get into the recap from last week and begin our episode tonight, let's take a quick moment to thank some sponsors. As always, I want to thank the sponsors of Proficiency Bonus, Little Dragon Corp, and Cardboard Castle Games. You can get a link to either of those websites for those sponsors by typing !Little Dragon or !CGC into chat during tonight's stream at any point. Little Dragon Corp is a Canadian-based dice company that sells polyhedral tabletop gaming dice, such as my world-famous green screen dice that don't show up on my green screen. And Cardboard Castle Games is a brick-and-mortar tabletop RPG store located in Evans, Georgia. But fear not if you don't live in Evans, Georgia, because they have a robust online website where you can order all of your tabletop gaming needs and have them shipped directly to your house. So, thank you, Cardboard Castle and Little Dragon Corp, for sponsoring Proficiency Bonus. Now, continue our tradition. Let us jump into the recap, which will not be delivered by me, but is in fact Brittany's job now.
I hate you so much.
Cereal?
We love you.
Oh boy.
No, the eating bit, no. Oh my god. Okay, I hate you. I should have been prepared for this. Okay, so last time with the Fool's Errant, the group of the Fools, including Honorary Fool Velza and Leanna Highhaven, were trying to make it to the side of the king in order to help him escape the incursion of traitors and Ignian invaders. Did not really go that well, considering that when we started off, Walter was underwater by a sewer monster, and no one could really hit it or save him without risking falling into the spell that Walter himself had cast. Eventually, with enough damage done, Walter was freed and kind of hallucinated for a little bit while we pulled him out of sewer water and made our way through the city, eventually getting to the Chambers of Parliament, where we saw a lone figure at the far end, Sir Tyrus Luther, standing against a group of traitors of about 15 or 20 individuals, ready to attack him and break through his last defense in order to reach and kill the King of Mithlinde. And as the group approached, we were spotted, and that is where we left off, as we were told to roll initiative before attacking. And that was the last thing we did last week.
Alright. Oh, great recap. I'm glad I worked really hard on it.
I hate you so much. Now I'm gonna have to write one every week and put it in the group notes, and I hate you.
Listen, we all know you did it anyway. That's why I started making you do this. And also to shame everybody else a little bit, to show them
I haven't taken notes for
real initiative.
anything.
Yes, I know.
30 years.
I know.
30 years. All of my life, I've never taken notes.
7 years of
Worse,
D&D
I
with chuckles.
take notes and then I lose them. So
7 years of D&D. Russell hasn't remembered the name of one character that we've ever encountered.
That's not true. I know most of your guys' names.
That's not true. I remember Boopy Doob.
yeah,
And what's his face?
Yeah, I remember Boopy Doo. Lefty.
let's see. What was my character's name again?
In which campaign? That's when it
one-
gets tricky.
I expect you to know my character's name in this campaign because you can look on the stream and see it there. Let's try
That's a good point.
I
Let's try
know
the
your
first campaign
character's
that you-
name. It was,
You a salami leg this, salami leg on, salami leg of Carl's shoes.
Right.
I'm gonna go with Craig.
Craig.
Okay, good.
Nailed it.
Definitely Craig.
Nailed it.
I need to.
So, small clarification on the recap there. Well, not clarification, just to expound upon something a bit. You did kind of exchange the opening volley of some words with who seems to be the ringleader of the goons that are threatening to take the remaining defenders of the surviving parliament and the king. But you guys pretty quickly made the decision that like you weren't going to listen to the villain monologue and just announced that you were going to start shooting. So that is when we rolled initiative.
Good. I hope you spent a really long time writing it.
No, I haven't written a villain monologue in years.
No, he's already a villain.
he learned.
So he
It's
just knows
just
how to
in my it's
And it
just in my
shows.
heart after playing with you guys for so long. No, so to give you a little bit of a refresher on the sort of the state of the room here, I have your initiative saved, so we don't need to re-roll initiative. I'm ready to go. Just to give you guys a sort of a paint the word picture here of what the room looks like that you find yourself standing in. You are at the back of a sort of like amphitheater style parliament hall where there is a half circle amphitheater style ascending rows of like benches with like desk tabletops right in front of them for like the various members of parliament to like sit and and write very very sort of like Congress like in nature. About halfway down this this chamber towards the floor, there is like a landing. So you go down maybe 25-30 steps, and then there is a landing of about 15 feet. That is where the collected group of enemies it has gathered. And then there's about another 15 or so steps down a little further into like the base of the room where there is a semicircular open floor with a large high long table set up towards the back wall, as well as like a podium where a primary speaker would come and like address the parliament. That podium and the tables like down at the front are all kind of like have been knocked askew. That is where Sir Tyrus Luther is currently like standing, though he is he's got his broadsword, his greatsword is like planted in the floor, and he's like leaning on it for support. You can see that he's been injured. You can't gauge how severely, but he is definitely injured. The chamber around you, the desks and chairs and things are like it's bedlam. The whole chamber is basically like destroyed, and there are dozens of bodies scattered throughout this room. You see Mithlindian guards. You see members of parliament in their like finery. You see who you take to be like attendants and various like functionaries of this chamber meeting that was in place. You guys would probably like with a quick glance in the few moments before like you rushed into combat here, you probably would be able to notice that like in the chaos, even among the dead bodies that are scattered around, it's hard to tell like who is who. You see like there are like who look like they are aides, like dead bodies on the floor of like somebody who looks like someone's aide, and then you realize that like there is a dagger in their hand, and it seems very clear that like the initial outbreak of fighting was like chaos in which nobody knew who was on anybody's side, and just bedlam broke out. At this point, the sides are fairly clear. The people arrayed before you, you see a handful of Mithlandian guards. You see a handful of individuals who have they're just wearing like normal clothing, except they have obtained and like donned pieces of like light armor from somewhere, and have like equipped themselves with armor and are fashioned with swords and various other types of weapons. And then of course there is like the kind of the large guy that you were talking to, who is sort of standing in the middle of them, and he is carrying a big polearm essentially, that he was just sort of like leaning on when you guys came in, kind of almost casually. But I forget what it is that he said to you, but he said something, and you guys were like, all right, shitbird, and you just attacked. So you guys begin to charge into the fray here, with the first up in the initiative as you guys spring into action here being Alar.
What's the range on that?
He's about 45 feet from you, probably, as are his peeps.
Alright, well, I will start moving up. I'll get down. I will move the 30 feet. And Mr. Big Guy with the polearm gets to make a wisdom save.
Alrighty. He rolls an 8 plus 2, a 10.
Okay. Go. Save the monologue. We've heard it all before, and I cast Hideous Laughter.
Okay. He already kind of like, he had sort of like a, not necessarily a smug grin, but sort of a, this sort of like resigned, like teeth-bared grin on his face. And as you like unleash this spell, it sort of like, it turns into this like rictus grin as he like he says, "This is you don't." And he starts like pounding the haft of the glaive. Oh, there goes Brahm, pounding the haft of the glaive on the ground.
And he will fall prone.
Yes.
As per the spell.
Alrighty. So he begins to cackle with laughter. The like individuals around him sort of like take a look and don't seem to know what to do about that. Anything else?
That's all I can do.
Okay. That's going to bring us to Brahm and Velza.
Considering Brahm is not here.
Yeah, you go ahead. I will do something with Brahm if he doesn't make it back by the time that.
Okay. So the big guy fell prone. Can I still see him?
Yeah.
Is it disadvantaged to
A
take
ranged
spell
attack
at him?
will be at disadvantage. Yes, because he is prone.
Whatever. Then I'll take 2 Eldritch Blasts at one of the soldiers, like more towards us.
Okay.
Just to try to start picking them off.
So I'm gonna make a distinction here, just because mechanically it'll be important. There's 15 guys besides the leader here in the center of this room. 4 of them, there's Brahm. 4 of them are not wearing like guard uniforms. They are wearing like there's some of the ones who have like normal clothes on, but they are carrying themselves with an air of self-assurance, and like the armor that they have like donned seems like fitted to them, whereas like the others seems like a store of like gear was maybe stashed
Like
in here
piecemeal.
somewhere and like handed out. These four are wearing armor that is like clearly their equipment.
I'm aiming for one
so
of
there's
them.
like 4 of them, and then the rest of the 15 are like standard.
Yeah, I'm
dudes.
aiming for one of the guys who looks a bit more
Okay.
has fitted armor and is a bit more self-assured. I'm trying to ruin his night a little. So 21 to hit on the first,
Sure, that'll hit.
and 18 to hit on the second. Last.
The 18 also hits. 2 hits.
That's 12 points of damage total for both hits.
12 points. Okay, so you fire off 2 Eldritch Blasts. The individual that you shoot at kind of springs into action trying to get out of the way, but they are clipped by those. And you send him sort of spinning, and he kind of lands in a 3-point steadying pose with one hand braced on the ground. But he is still on his feet. Okay. That is going to bring us to
Is it Brom stuff?
Brom. Yes, Brom stuff, because Brom was AFK a second ago, but it is his turn.
Okay. I don't have much. So... wait, let me double check to see if I have any of these left before I do what I want to do. Okay, I have one left, so I can do this once. I'm going to attack with my crossbow.
Okay.
It's an 18 plus things.
Who are you attacking? Are you, the main guy that you were talking to is currently prone and hideous laughtering. There are 4 sort of more elite looking guys, and then there are guy 5 through 15 is a standard person, standard combatant.
Do I have advantage on the guy who's prone or disadvantage?
Disadvantage.
Okay, I'm gonna go for him, so let me roll again. That will then be an 18 not plus things.
That does hit, yes.
Okay.
I don't know what Jason's giggling at over here.
Yeah, I don't like
I
it.
think Jason realizes what
the best laid plans of mice and men.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 7 damage. And then I'm going to use my last bardic inspiration to use Psychic Blades, because I found out last week it can be used on range.
Hey, that's fun. Okay.
So that's going to do
which
an
dude
additional
did you
3d6.
you hit the big guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's laying prone. So that's going to do an extra 16 points of damage.
All right, so a total of how much? 16, and what was the bolt?
7.
7, yeah.
He'll get a new wisdom save.
Yeah, I already rolled it.
Okay.
He failed though, so he's not he does not break out of Tasha's Hades laughter. He rolled a 3 on his saving throw. Okay, so you thunk a crossbow into him on the ground, and he pauses his giggling long enough to be like, "Son of a bitch!" Ah! As he keeps giggling.
Alar's gonna look back at you and do. Ow! You know how that works.
All right.
I'm going to reload my crossbow and go, My mother was not a bitch.
It is going to be his turn, so he is continuing to hideous laugh. So at the end of his turn, he can't do anything, right? He's
He's
incapacitated.
incapacitated,
He is,
yeah.
he is
So
incapacitated.
he will roll to save at the end of his turn. Is a
Mark is 15.
he rolled a 14 plus 2, so
Okay.
a 16. So he will succeed this time. As he kind of like stops laughing. He's out of breath from laughing too hard and kind of like pushes himself onto his hands and knees. Still prone for mechanical purposes, and he'll have to stand up next round. But he's kind of like props himself on an elbow, and he says, "Boy, you people really should have considered talking to me first." And that is going to be all of his goons' turn. And the 4 kind of like ones that Velza you had identified as like the sort of fancier ones, they split 2 and 2, and they go this way. They begin to go up the the stairs on either side, and they're both gonna use a dash action this turn to go out, up and back towards you guys in an arc. So they're gonna put themselves about 2 on either side of your group, about 20 feet away from you guys, as they move this way and begin to pincer in on you. From below, I'm gonna call them goons 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 are going to begin to come up the stairs. I believe Alar is the only one who moved closer out of you guys yet, right?
Yep.
So 3 guys are gonna come gather themselves, basically come and swarm you, Alar. And 14 and 15 are gonna use a full 30 feet of movement, kind of away from you a little bit, enough to sort of go past you up towards them. They're only going to use 30 feet, and they're both going to hold an action to attack if anybody comes down into their range. The 3 who run up on you, Alar, are going to take 1 attack apiece. And they are going to do a reckless attack. So you see, they basically come, they run up on you, and you kind of see that, they clearly mean to kill you and do it as fast as possible. And you don't get the sense that these guys, as they come and, rush you, are necessarily, battle-hardened veterans, so much as they are, kind of thugs. So they definitely overextend and overplay their hands in an attempt to cut you down. And as they swing, you see that them just leaving themselves open for counterattack. So they're gonna recklessly attack, giving themselves advantage on their attacks against you. But all attacks against them next round will be at advantage as they leave themselves defenseless. Okay, the first round of swings here. So this is each guy's first swing.
Mark is 14.
Okay, so I have a 15, a 19, no, a 15, a 20, a 15, a dirty 20, and a 9. So 2 guys definitely hit. Let me see if either of them crit. They don't. So those 2 guys hit, and the other guy's second hit is still only a 12. So 2 of them do hit you. One of them you are able to sidestep. So
Okay.
you will take.
I will uncanny dodge the second.
Okay. So the first one then is going to hit you for 13 points of slashing damage.
Okay.
And the second one will hit you for 11 points, which you can half to 5.
Okay. Ouchies.
So they kind of hack into you with these blades that they are carrying. And that is their turn. Now there's still 6 of these guys that did not do anything. They stay kind of in a defensive formation here, kind of waiting to see how the battle shapes out instead of everybody like running forward. So there are now 1, 2, 3, 4. There are now 5 halfway up the steps. 3 of them on Alar, 2 of them past Alar, and then there are another 4, like 2 and 2, coming like wide around towards you guys. That is going to bring us to Sir Tyrus Luther, actually, who, as this fight breaks out, you guys begin to rush down the stairs. They like raise this like war cry and chase up after you as well. Sir Tyrus Luther, you guys see he like heaves himself off of his greatsword, like pulls it back up out of the floorboards, and like brings it to bear in front of him. And through gritted teeth, he like yells up at the attackers. He says, "For king and kingdom!" And he lets out this like, "Ah!" And he charges, bringing his greatsword up. And what you guys actually see is he starts to run. Behind him, in like the doorway that he was guarding, a trio of Mithlindian soldiers who like clearly were like right inside the door, like holding the door, follow his lead, and they like burst out as well and start like running like with him to like back him up as he charges in towards these guys. So Sir Tyrus and these three knights, these 3 King's Guard, start to charge up towards the group. Sir Tyrus is able to get to the group from where he was, as he was only on that bottom tier. So he is gonna take he's gonna take 2 attacks, and he is gonna swing at he's just gonna swing at like 2 of the random guys that are here. He's gonna take 1 attack apiece against each of them. Okay, so that is oh boy, Sir Tyrus, you've done me so wrong. No, 2 clean misses. He charges in, and he is kind of like buffeted back as these guys close ranks around, sort of in front of him. He should definitely have some like abilities here. I cannot find it. Weird. Okay, no worries for now. That is what Sir Tyrus does with his turn. The guys that run out with him are on a different initiative, so they've exited the room, but they're not doing anything yet. Osrius, what do you guys want to have Osrius do?
I'd say charging the big guy in the middle. He's looking for blood, and that's where the largest concentration is.
Charge the big guy in the middle. I believe he's got enough movement speed. I think he's got 45 movement speed. 40. Okay, so he can't quite get to that guy. So you know what he's gonna do? You know what he can do though, is he can move his 45. He can throw a javelin first, which he will do. He's not gonna throw it at the big guy because that guy's still prone. He's gonna throw it at like, he just like turns to the side and hucks a javelin at one of the dudes coming up on your sides, which is gonna hit. It's an 18 plus things. So he will deal with his javelin. I can roll right in here. That's fine. 9 points of damage to one of these guys. Okay. And then he's going to run his 40 feet of movement speed to like in front of this group, and then he is going to bonus action rage. So you see he he runs down and he like stops in front of like all of these guys, and there's like kind of a brief moment as they sort of like clink of armor and weapons as he like gets up. The big guy is like still on the ground. He kind of looks up at Oz, and Oz just goes, "Hey," and like a torrent of fire just explodes off of him as his stony flesh cracks, and you see like the pulse of like red magma beneath his skin, and this fire just like erupts off of him. He is gonna do fire damage to everybody around him if they fail a dex save. I'll just roll for one flat. Okay, so they do. Everybody saves. I rolled for the big guy and I rolled for the goons. So he is gonna deal. I thought it was a D6. It's just a flat 3 fire damage.
It's a proficiency bonus or something like that.
That's right. So they all take.
Or strength mod or something.
Oh, is this? Oh, you know what I'm thinking about? When I played a Storm Herald Barbarian, I was the lightning effect, which is a different thing. It's not a dex save. They just take the fire damage.
Yeah, there's no saves, just damage.
He takes 3 fire damage, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those guys all take 3 fire damage. And they all just sort of like, oh, they get staggered backwards. And that's going to be Osrius's turn. Walter, that's going to bring us to you.
All right, well, he didn't go for my deception to drop his arms because they lost already. So I'm gonna like, is there like a banister, I assume, or like something I can lean on to call out to Oz? Yeah,
sure. There's a banister.
So I'm gonna like lean over and I'm gonna like, hey Oz, if you kill him, make sure you keep his head intact, and I'm gonna dismiss my my looking like normal Walter.
Oh.
I'm just gonna say, we need to have a chat, and then I'm gonna Eldritch Blast 2 guys next to him.
Okay, roll to hit twice.
So I'll spooky eyes this man. Let's see. So I guess Goon on left is gonna.
Okay.
Does a 23 hit that guy?
Oddly enough, no. Yes,
No.
it does, definitely does.
So he's gonna take 3 force damage, and
Okay.
the guy on right with a 19 to hit
Also hits.
will take 1 point of force damage.
Okay.
Look, it's 1d10. I don't know what you want. You can roll a 1. It's fine.
So you like dismiss the illusion, and then like the normal visage of your face fades away to sort of this like gaunt, almost like translucent skin, hollow voids for eye sockets replaces it, and you launch 2 Eldritch Blasts down the corridor, which like basically like twin around Oz and like slam into the guys on either side of him, who are like flanking the big guy on the ground, and they both like oof are staggered backwards. That is going to bring us. Anything else with your turn? You moving at all or anything like that?
No, I'm gonna stay where I'm at. I think
Okay.
that's the easiest way.
Alrighty, that is going to bring us to the soldiers with Luther. The 3 of them are going to charge up. They will have to use a sprint, a dash, because they came from further back than Luther. So they'll use their dash to get up, where they will like take positions around Luther, forming like a defensive line. And that's all they're going to do for this turn. Highhaven, Liana Highhaven. She like throws the cloak that she's been wearing, just like throws that off. You guys do know she took most of her like heavy armor. She does still have a breastplate on, and bracers, shin greaves, I guess. And she like brings out this. I don't know if you guys have ever like seen her draw her sword before.
I think so.
She like sort of threatened it one time, but she pulls out her sword. It is technically a long sword, but it's like extremely narrow. It's like a long sword and a rapier had a baby, and it was this sword. So it's this very like thin longsword with a delicate like gilded crossguard, and she's going to run over to where you are, Alar, and try to help you. And she is gonna take 2 attacks with the longsword that she's got here. This character generator thing I have is not doing people's stuff correctly tonight. You fool! You done? There you go.
She does roll an advantage as well, because they overextended themselves.
Yes. So she's gonna attack 2 of them with each. Alrighty. So that is a 10 plus, there it is. So a 16 and a 21. So that's going to be 2 clean hits. So she is going to deal respectively to these guys. Eight and 4 points of slashing damage. Alrighty. So she's gonna do that, and she is also from like sort of like the small of her back. She sort of like reaches around and she pulls out it's sort of like a buckler. It is like she kind of like slips it onto her wrist, onto her forearm, but it's kind of like it's almost like leaf shaped, but it is like a flat, basically piece of metal that she puts into position, and it looks like she is prepared to use it to like block a sword with the back of her forearm. So that is Liana Highhaven's turn. So bring us to the top of the order, and Alar. So you have three guys harrying you, and Liana Highhaven is at your like right shoulder, basically.
All right. Going to take a swing at advantage at the most injured one.
Okay.
Does a 13 hit?
A 13, I believe, hits. Yes, 13 hits.
Good God. Where's the sneak attack damage? There's the sneak attack damage. And I'm using Booming Blade, so... let's see, what was that? So 23 points of piercing damage, and 5 points of thunder damage to the one injured.
So you stab into him and pull the blade back out. And kind of like gives a reverberation as you cast this spell on your sword. He is still on his feet. He doesn't look super happy with the injury that you just dealt him. Anything else that you would like to do?
I'm gonna look them dead in the eye and go, you guys should have stood aside.
Okay. Brahm and Velza.
Velza, you can go first, as I have sat here staring at my character sheet this whole time and still have not figured out what in criminy to do.
How far are the guys between me and Alar?
The guys between you
Like
and
the guys that are
Alar.
the guys that are near Alar. I mean, like how far are they?
The guys that are near Alar are 35 feet from you, because they moved up to the front of Alar, who moved 30 feet from you. There are two other guys who are like
Coming up
closer
the other
to
side.
you, who bypassed Alar and kept coming up, and then there's the 4 from either side.
I'm gonna shoot 2 Eldritch Blasts at one at the guy that Alar just hit, and one at the other guy that Highhaven hit for less points.
Okay.
They're farther away and there's advantage on them.
Sure.
Thank God for advantage. Dirty 20 to hit the first one,
That hits.
and 23 to hit the second one.
Both of those will hit. No damage.
5 points on the first, and 10 points on the second.
Alrighty. Alright, both of them are struck as you like thread the needle between Liana Highhaven and Alar and hit 2 of these guys that are fighting with them. Anything else?
Knowing that the other guys are coming the other way, even though I really can't do anything if they get close to me, I'm still gonna turn and, like, not completely turn my back to where the other guys are coming from, but face the guys that are circling around the other way towards us so I can keep my eyes on them.
Cool. You are able to do that. Bron, figured out what you want to do yet?
Yeah. So concentrate on wherever the most amount of dudes in a 20-foot square are.
The most amount of dudes in a 20-foot square would be down at the bottom of the amphitheater, where the big guy is surrounded by 6 people still.
Okay.
However, I'm not sure what you're about to do. Keep in mind that that area also includes Osrius, Sir Tyrus Luther, and 3 Kingsguard who are, as far as you can tell at this point, on your side.
I'm not worried about Osrius making the save, but the other dudes I'm a little concerned about.
Other than that group, there is, like, the next largest cluster of people are the ones who are grouped up around Alar. That group includes 3 enemies, Alar and Liana Highhaven. And then after that, there are 3 distinct sets of 2, like, groups of 2 enemies that you could hit independently, without hitting anybody like on your team. But 2 guys is the most you can get with one shot of this without without dropping whatever this is on allies as well.
Okay. I'm gonna go for the first square with all the dudes and hope many people make their save. So I'm gonna use my last charge in my Bandor to cast Entangle.
Okay. What does that look? Well, we know what it looks like because we've described it before. What is it's a save, right?
Yes, strength check against my spell save.
Okay, Osrius is raging, so he has advantage. One of his dice is a 17, and his strength is like 1,000,000. So
I believe my spell save was a 16. Let me check.
Oz saves.
Yep.
The big dude, the big boss goon, saves. The like mini goons that are with him, strength, you say?
Yeah.
They get a 15. What's your spell save?
16.
16. They fail. Sir Tyrus Luther fails, and Sir Tyrus Luther's knights succeed. So Sir Tyrus and the 6 like goons are all basically like hauled to like a standstill as these like spectral metal like lute strings lash out of the ground and wrap around them, binding their arms and chests and legs, and restraining them.
There's literally nothing else I can do, so I'm going to.
Does that do any damage of any sort, or is it just restrain them?
No, I believe it. Yeah, let me double check. I had the spell up and then I just moved it.
I believe it restrains them. They need to use a strength save to break out of it, and it's considered difficult terrain as long as you have the spell active.
Yes. Vendor. Tangle.
No damage.
Yeah, strength
on
save
their-
restrained until the spell ends.
Okay.
where
Creature
they use
restrained
an
by the plant
action
can use an
make a
action
check
to make a
against
strength
these-
check.
Yep.
Again.
Yeah.
So
And
they
it's
can do
concentration.
nothing or
That
break out.
is what I thought. Cool. All right, it is the big guy's turn. Alar, as you say this to like the other guy, like you guys really should have given up. The big guy who is currently basically just ripping out of these lashing guitar strings that are trying to grab hold of him. He sort of fights his way free, readies his glaive, and he kind of turns out and he says, "Oh, my friend, I really don't think you understand the win condition for either of our sides on this one." He is going to use his, I believe he has 3 attacks. Yes, he's going to make 3 attacks. He is going to turn around. He's going to move away from Osrius. Osrius will attack him with an attack of opportunity. Osrius will hit, inflicting... Use his great axe. Would be 10 plus an additional. What's his rage damage at this level?
I think it's 2?
3.
Or is it 4?
3 at this level. Plus 3 melee damage. So he deals 13 damage to this guy. And he is like chunked. He turns back. He chunked by Oz as he moves away. But he is going to take his 3 swings at Sir Tyrus.
Oh no.
That is a 2, an 18, and a 3. So he will hit Sir Tyrus once, dealing...
In the spirit of good gamesmanship, and not that I want this to happen, but Sir Tyrus is restrained and is therefore attacks at advantage.
Oh shit, okay. Fair enough. Okay, so I will roll this and see if he crits. He doesn't. I will roll either of these to see if he hits. That's still gonna miss. He will hit him one more time. Unfortunately.
Just,
Fair enough.
I don't want to lose Sir Tyrus. I just, I'm gonna abuse the shit out of that.
We gotta play straight.
Ooh. Okay, so his first slash is... Hang on, I have to add all this up here. And his second one... Alrighty. He basically runs up, and Sir Tyrus is, likewise sort of like wrestling with the restraining barbed wire guitar strings and struggling with these fights. So this guy just this guy sort of turns, he sort of slips in, between 2 of his other fighters, and just goes shunk, shunk, with this glaive, and Sir Tyrus is basically lifted off of his feet by the strength of the second attack, and is thrown backwards, and lands on the ground on his back. His greatsword clatters out of his hands. Make a perception check, everybody.
$22.
As my eyes no longer exist, I got a 3.
19.
17.
Okay, so Walter, you probably can't really see this through the press of bodies and spell vines that are going on over there. The other three of you, you see Sir Tyrus hits the ground, and he loses his sword, but you see as he, like, bounces to a stop, he sort of, like, rolls onto one side, and is, like, still moving. He's, like, he has to be grievously wounded, but you watch, even so, as he hits the ground, and you see, like, blood pooling beneath him, you watch as he is even still, like, reaching for the hilt of his sword to, like, pick his sword back up. This guy turns back around with his glaive rather than, like, pursue Sir Tyrus. And he kind of, like, yells back, like, at you to the room, you know, to the group of you at large. And he says, for you to win, you've got to kill all of us. Get the king. Hope you don't run into any more of my men. Get out of here and hopefully make it to the castle. Even then, that's only to be under siege by a hostile force. That's your win condition. I don't have to beat you. I don't even have to live. I just have to keep you busy long enough. And as if on cue, from, like, in the distance outside, you hear an explosion go off that you are able to, like, peg as one of the charges that you know that the Ignian invading forces have with him being set off. He like brings his glaive back around to bear, and he says, "You haven't even asked any questions about what we want. I would consider talking now if I was you."
Just gonna look over at Brahm and just, like, kind of. Have we seen you do the creepy mask thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so, like, we know that
At
you
least
can.
once.
We know that you can, like, you could reasonably get information from a corpse if you needed to.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right, so I guess I'm gonna look over at Brahm, and look back at him. And it's like, we'll get what we need.
Nice. I honestly forgot it wasn't your turn. I was waiting for you to do something horrible to this man. So that is the end of his turn. His goons are gonna go.
Walter casts Inside Out, the spell that turns man inside out.
So the goons are gonna go. They're gonna make again, giving themselves advantage. I'm gonna say 2 of them are gonna attack Leanna Highhaven. That's 1 hit and a miss. So Leanna Highhaven is going to take a little bit of damage. Jeez, I'm, like, throwing my dice all over the floor tonight. Okay, Highhaven takes 15 points of slashing damage. One of them is going to attack Alar with advantage. That's a nat 1 and a 15 total.
The 15 hits.
All right, good. Okay,
So
15
uncanny
hits.
dodge.
So you, instead of taking 5 points of damage, you will take 2 points of damage. The other group, so the two that had run up the stairs are going to advance further. And they are going to attack Velza and Walter as they have seen you guys, like, flinging spells. Again, recklessly, both of them, so with advantage. That is against Velza a 20, a dirty 20, and against Brahm an
Brahm or
18.
Walter?
Sorry, Walter.
All
A dirty 20 against Velza and 18 against Walter.
right. I'm gonna shield.
Okay. So you
And yeah, so
cast a
my
shield in front of yourself.
I decided that given the motif of the overall things, it's going to be a gust of wind that, like, shields it.
Cool. Okay.
Just instead of instead of the normal like magic-y shield thing. So
Oh yeah. So you're like your cloak and your clothes like billow around you as this like vortex of wind like bats this guy's sword aside. Very cool. Okay, so you are deflected. Velza, you are gonna take 11 points of slashing damage.
Okay, I have a quick question about the room really fast.
Yeah.
From where I'm standing to like the other side of the group of goons down below,
Yeah.
where the leader is, how far is that?
You have not moved up at all, right?
No.
So about 45 feet. So you're probably looking at about 50 foot to get to the far side of the goons.
Cool. I'm going to use one of my features. This is probably the stupidest thing I've ever done, but whatever. And I'm going to use Misty Escape.
Ooh, okay.
Which allows me to turn invisible and teleport up to 60 feet to an unoccupied space I can see. I want to end up on the other side of them, and I remain invisible until the start of my next turn, or until I attack or cast a spell.
Alright, so...
I shoot to the other side, I just poof away, and...
This gust of wind goes up. It blocks the sword from hitting Walter. Velza gets like nailed with the sword, and as far as you guys can see, Velza gets hit with a sword so hard she just like turns into dust. Velza disappears with a pop.
Bethesda.
Walter probably like I think you recognize this like this sort of.
I mean, I can Misty Step, so
like, you know what is up. I think the guy that hit her with the sword is extremely confused, as he like hit this lady and she just like, disappeared. So that is those two. Oh boy. So Osrius is about to take
half damage.
Half damage. He's about to get attacked 6 times at advantage. 1 hit, 2 hits, 3 hits, 4 hits. Boy howdy. 5 hits.
Stone's endurance if he takes a big enough hit.
He gets hit all 6 times. Nobody crits him though. That's fun.
That's great.
So he's gonna take. I'm gonna get the dice app out for this because we'll be here all.
Are they equipped with butter knives? That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So he's gonna take 6 hits. So this is gonna be each one is plus how much damage? Okay, dice. Osrius takes 58 points of damage. Halved. He takes half.
Yeah. Like I said, he can if he has a big enough hit. Like if one of those was like pretty hard, he could reasonably stone it.
None of them were necessarily harder than any of the others.
It's just a lot.
He takes 29 points of damage. Okay. He didn't love that. Because he gets hit quite hard by like a lot of guys. They just like start smacking him as he is battered. He kind of staggers back from the amount of strikes he just took. The 4 guys that like circled around you now move inward. Velza is gone. So they are going to head straight for Brahm and Walter in the back line here. They're going to make a pair of attacks apiece. Alrighty, so Walter first. 16 is the better of the 2, so with your shield that will not cut through.
I'm at 19, yeah.
And at Brahm, the better of the 2 attacks. Actually, they both. Does an 18 hit?
Yes.
Okay, so you actually get hit twice, Brahm. So you're gonna take 14 points of piercing damage. And I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
$18.
Okay, so that succeeds. So you feel as this blade hits you, you feel the wound like instantly begin to like burn and sting, and you feel like a heat rising through your body, stemming from where the sword hit you. So you are going to take half damage from this because you succeeded. You are going to take 14 additional points of poison damage.
That was halved.
14 is halved.
Oh, I just healed myself instead of...
As these two guys run in, and there is definitely something on these blades that they carry, these short swords that they have. Alrighty. Sir Tyrus Luther is going to grab his greatsword and get to his feet, and he is going to step forward and make 2 attacks against the big guy. One of which will hit, dealing... Right, there it is. $12 points of damage to him. Okay, is there. He sort of like grunts as he had turned away from Sir Tyrus, thinking like that guy's definitely out of the fight, and then gets like hit from behind with a greatsword. He sort of like wheels around, staggers back, and he is kind of like momentarily stunned that like this knight got back onto his feet. That is going to bring us to Osrius, who just got hit a lot. So these guys are all restrained, which means they're all at disadvantage. And they basically can't get away from him as they're just tied up in front of him.
He can also bonus action to do the damage again.
He will do that. I'll do that at the end of his turn. So he's going to take 2 attacks, I believe, right? He's got double multi-attack, right? Yes, okay. He's going to take 2 great axe attacks. He's going to attack 2 separate guys here. Let me roll. Just hit there, and there. Okay, so 17 will hit.
They at advantage?
Will also hit. Oh, yeah, let me roll twice more advantage. He fucking crits on one of them!
He has brutal critical.
Yes, he does. Alrighty, so on the critical, I thought I could click it and it would roll damage.
Only after you roll the crit. Like the moment you roll the crit, you have to use it. Yeah,
that's fine. We'll just double it. Okay, so he deals
triple. He gets 3 damage dice for a
extra
crit.
damage dice. So I'm just gonna do this on. All right, so the one that was not the critical, he's gonna deal 6. Oh, I'm rolling the wrong weapon. Boop. Sorry about that. Should have stuck with the other one. He deals 8 points of damage to this guy. He's just gonna hit that guy a second time, and he's gonna roll 3d12.
It's a very fun ability.
He will do 18 points of damage with the second hit. Okay. And then he will use his bonus action to inflict 3 additional points of damage into everybody around him.
It's a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage. None of these guys go down though. They are quite resilient. That is going to bring us, Walter, to you.
All right. We had reduced numbers. I'm gonna. I guess I would have been able to see like the two that he hit.
Yep.
All right. I'll just blast each of those two.
Okay.
So man number 1. They are restrained, correct?
They are restrained.
So the higher of the first one is a 14 to hit.
That hits.
And the second one is a crit.
Oh, okay.
So the second guy is going to take 9 points of Eldritch Blast damage, and the first guy is going to take also 9 points of Eldritch Blast damage.
Okay. Alright, he's there. And he is there. So they are both slammed with Eldritch Blasts. One of them is looking to be pretty bad off.
Physically around me, I just took a hit from somebody near me.
You took a hit, or you got swung on, but you shielded, so you haven't actually been hit.
Right. Well, yeah. I'm saying there's somebody in melee range.
Yes, there is
So,
like an assassin guy with a poisoned sword in melee range with you.
Risk attack of opportunity when I know he could probably hit me, or so if I were to go, I assume I'm at like the top center of whatever this area is.
Yeah, basically.
There's two dudes on either side of us. Alar has engaged one of them.
No,
No,
Alar's
I
down
am
the stairs?
30 feet down the steps, and I'm fighting 3 thugs with Leanna Highhaven.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's me and Brahm at the top of the steps with the two four elite dudes, I guess.
There are 4 elite dudes with you guys.
Great. Okay. What's the drop look like in front of me?
It's no drop. You're like on a staircase.
Oh, okay.
Basically.
But I mean, like if I were to like jump off the side of the staircase.
There's nothing to jump
It's
off.
okay. It's like a bowl. It's not like a.
Yeah, like you're on a staircase in an amphitheater. So like you could like throw yourself down a flight of stairs, but there's nothing to like leap off of.
Okay. I mean, I was gonna fast exit and risk the fall damage instead of getting hit by these guys' daggers, but yeah, I guess I am going to risk the fewest number of possible attack of opportunities and run on down.
Okay. They will both swing at you. A 10 and a 18.
18 hits.
Alright, you're going to take 8 points of piercing damage, and I need a constitution saving throw, please. Oh, crap. Also, Brahm, I need a constitution saving throw DC 10 from you from before to see if you're able to hold concentration on your spell.
Is it a disease?
Nope, poison.
It is. It's an 8. So.
So you will fail. You're gonna take full damage. What'd you say, Brahm?
Succeeded.
Okay. All right. You, Walter, are going to take 23 points of poison damage.
What's the rules on what's the rules on potions again.
Bonus
If you
action.
take one,
Bonus action
if
to
you
take
take one
one.
yourself, it is a house rule for anybody watching at home that's about to get pissy. We house rule that if you take a potion yourself that you have on you, as a bonus action, to feed a potion to somebody else takes a full action.
Cool. I already used my action. I used my movement, so I'm moving my full 30 feet. I survived.
Okay, good.
Boy, did I use all of them? Oh no. Nope, I didn't use all of them. Yep, potion of healing.
Okay.
2d4 plus 2.
Uncork the potion of healing. Ooh, guzzle it down.
Like yeah, at the end of my run, I'm doing 2d4 plus 2.
Sure.
6
sort of
plus
like
8.
burning itching as your like wound closes, and then the poison that just got stabbed into you is sort of like expelled out of your body.
And we can only do one of those at a time, right?
Correct. Until you invent the magical item, the double strawed beer hat that you can put 2 potions of healing into.
I would.
Somebody roll an artificer. Okay. That is going to bring us to the soldiers. We're going to make attacks against goons. A hit, and a miss. So 2 hits. Dealing. Okay. Attack. Okay, him. And alrighty, so the soldiers continue to kind of like do battle from the back. The one who misses is gonna he's gonna risk an attack of opportunity. He's gonna back out of combat. One of the guys takes a swing at him, but he ducks out of the way, and he runs over to get alongside Sir Tyrus Luther. And you see him trying to take Sir Tyrus and please come away, back up. You're going to die. Is trying to draw Tyrus away, and Tyrus is shrugging him off, continuing to hold his greatsword at the ready. That is going to bring us to where are we at here? Leanna Highhaven. Leanna Highhaven is she surveys the scene, and you see there is there's a glint in her eye, Alar, and she turns to you, and she says, "I'm sorry. Try to stay alive." And she fully somersaults over the guy in front of you. She is going to take an attack of opportunity, which will miss, as she flips over this guy and fully runs the rest of the way to get over to Sir Tyrus Luther. And she is going to she sort of skirts around the group there, and as he's running away, she comes up and she puts a hand on his chest and sort of draws him back, and you can hear her say, she says, "You're no good to your friend dead. Retreat and live to fight. Protect your king." And as she does this, you watch as a golden light seems to emanate off of her. And it kind of suffuses through the chamber and wraps itself a little bit around Sir Tyrus. And she is going to she lays a hand on him, and you see a bunch of his wounds heal. He is healed for 30 hit points, bringing him to a total 31 hit points.
I know that feel, Tyrus.
And
I regained 8 hit points to get to 9 hit points.
Jesus. Well, this is going well.
So that is what
Spooked
she
him.
does with her turn. Walter, you are left with these three guys on your own, and she sort of like pushes, or Alar rather, and she's like pushing Sir Tyrus and like interposing herself between him and the people that he's fighting. Alar, that's going to bring us to your turn. So you are standing in front of three goons, one of whom is really looking rough at this point.
Honestly, she kind of beat me to the punch. I'm going to use my bonus action to disengage. So,
Okay.
this case, I can't top the somersault, but Alar will try to parkour off of one of the tables and jump up, get on the other side of them, and basically get around to High Heaven. How's this? And he's gonna then. How far was the run to
From
get to
where
where
you
she
guys
was?
were to them was only like another like 30 feet ish, because you guys already descended,
Okay.
chunk of the way.
How close am I to the big guy?
He moved away from you a little bit to go back and fight Oz, so he's probably about 10 feet from you right now.
No, that's probably too far.
And he's in the middle of a mire of like whipping guitar strings at the moment.
Okay. Then I will hit one of the guys that Sir Tyrus injured and hope that I can drop him.
Absolutely, with advantage, as they are all still restrained.
Oh, fantastic. Does an 11 hit?
No, not quite.
I used all my good luck.
Rebuffed as.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to use my inspiration.
Okay.
That adds what, a D8?
D8.
Your bardic inspiration or DM?
No, inspiration from the DM.
Oh, that's
advantage. You just roll
it's advantage.
DM. Advantage.
So would that be one more dice roll?
So you roll you roll your d20 again as if you had advantage.
Okay. 16.
That will hit.
Ugh. 7 and 25 points of piercing damage to that one.
Alrighty.
Did anybody else hear the Windows shutdown sound?
I'm hoping that's enough to drop one of them.
Let's see. Honestly, it depends on who you attack. There is one that is like decidedly fucked up that Osrius has like been beating on.
Alright, sure, that one.
So you that isn't more than enough on that one to like you basically just like plunge the rib cage between the makeshift armor and pull it back out, and they drop to the ground dead.
As I survey the group of thugs, you heard your boss. He doesn't have to live. You don't have to live. This worth dying for?
Make a persuasion check at disadvantage.
11.
Okay. What's your passive insight, Alar?
Passive insight is 12.
So, nobody really reacts or responds to this statement that you make to these guys, but you can see it in a few of their eyes, right? Like there's like the glint in the eye of like the true believer, right? About half of these guys don't have it. You see as they kind of say this, and you drop the first one, that like they did not like sign up to become martyrs for whatever this cause is. So they still seem, you get the impression they still seem pretty confident that like they can kill all you guys and win this fight. But you definitely see that strikes a chord with some of these guys that like you don't think this like core group of people is like all prepared to die for this cause right here. So you definitely see the seeds of doubt in some of their eyes.
I'm hoping that my more persuasive friends can build upon that, or
Brahmin
barring
Velza.
that.
That's gonna bring us
Right.
to you. So Velza, you pop back into visibility now. It's the beginning of your next turn.
Yeah, it's the beginning of my next turn.
Okay.
I was kind of hoping I could before it's like my official turn, I want to like position myself where right in front of me is like the most of the guards. Like I don't want Alar or Leanna or any of them in right in front of my view.
The way that you described your teleportation, I think you're fine there because you sort of teleported over near sort of the big guy. So like, you know, these it's sort of one cluster of people, and like your friends are kind of here, and you're sort of here, so you can just you just are faced away from the group of them.
Okay, we're gonna do this once more time because it's all I've got besides cantrips.
All right,
And
once
I'm
more
going
again.
to do Fey Presence to frighten any creature in a 10-foot cube. They must pass a Wisdom saving throw of 14, and as I do it to frighten them, you see my already elven ears and elven features elongate creepily. My hair start to go black instead of blonde, like black goo, like kind of like the goo we saw from the box, starts pouring out of my mouth and from my hands, and I just go, "Is it worth dying for?"
Ooh, okay.
And I plant myself between them and the door.
They have to make a save.
Wisdom saving throw of
Wisdom saving.
14. Please
I'm gonna
fail
give them,
all of you.
I'm gonna give them disadvantage as Alar already sort of spooked him a little bit, and Walter has been in the room this whole time.
I was kind of like hoping like me going dark would make them think of
So
Walter's
I'm gonna
eyes,
give them
like
disadvantage on this roll.
This whole creepy
except for
ass
the
vibe.
except for the big guy. I'm gonna roll his flat. Okay, so what do they have to beat?
14.
A 14. Oh boy, it's gonna really depend on what their wisdom modifier is.
It's nothing because they're stupid idiots
Their
who follow
wisdom
the line.
modifier is a +0, and they rolled a 13.
Oh my
So
god.
they fail.
Okay.
The big guy, let me roll for him. He gets a
He
nat
failed.
20, so he's fine.
Son of a.
Of course he does.
He wasn't gonna break.
Oh,
I
so you
could've-
sort of like do this.
Yeah, Creep out.
And you you see this group of guys are looking between you. They're looking at Alar, who's like currently sort of like kicking the dead body off of his sword. Walter, who has like run down nearby, so they have like a better look at his like hollow eye sockets. Brahm is still up there, sort of like the discordant melodies off of this instrument that he is strumming is like echoing through the air as these like guitar strings continue to like slice at them and tangle them up. And these guys break. One of them goes. You hear one of them. He says, "We've already stalled enough. Let's just go. This isn't worth dying for." And the goons, the base level goons, we're gonna have to wait to their turn because fully half of them are still currently restrained, so they even if they wanted to, they can't run. But the ones that aren't, the ones that were like up by Alar and them, those 5, like that one of those was the ones who was like we didn't sign up to get killed for this. It's already been long enough that the Ignians will be through soon. Let's get the fuck out of here. And they run.
Real quick before my turn is over, I'm not gonna look at Alar for fear of him being creeped out by me, and I'm just gonna go, get past me, go with Luther to the king. Leanna and I will stay here. And I'm planting my feet ready to go down in this room.
Okay. Alright. The big guy, he sort of like turns, he sees the group that like is like running away. You can't fucking hire good help these days. And he is going to take 3 glaive attacks against you, Velza. That is a... $25.
Yeah.
A... 22.
Nice.
And a 17.
Hi guys.
Can you say that specific damage in order, please?
Yes.
It's
Okay,
important.
so here...
All three hit, right?
All 3 hit.
Okay.
Here's how this is going to go down. This is going to be very, very specific. The first hit deals... $19 points of slashing damage. The second hit deals 16 points of slashing damage.
Which is either one of them a down? Which one? The second one's a down.
You doing something before this third? Because he's like, even if she goes down, he's gonna hit her a third time.
Yeah.
Do it.
So instead of dropping all the way down, there's like a flutter from my Book of Shadows, and she is still up after the second hit.
All right, so Velza, instead of dropping unconscious,
You're at
have
1.
1 hit point. And
Which
I think,
is about to be eaten, but
I think so. Like he strikes you with this glaive the second time, and like the light, like the world vanishes, the lights go out, and like you hear this high pitched like ringing in your ears, just like tinnitus in your ears, and you like flutter back to consciousness, and you find that you were like in the process of like collapsing to the ground, and you sort of like catch yourself, and like almost as if you just like sort of like blacked out for a second. And you see the look of like kind of confusion on his face as he like hit you this like 1-2 and then was like, and then he sees you like wake up and he goes, what the fuck? And he hits you a third time.
Fair.
I'm not gonna bother rolling damage because he's not gonna massive damage kill you in one shot, but he's gonna do more than 1 point. So he uses that third one to knock Velza unconscious. Which is better than coup de grace her on the ground to give her a bunch of death saves. So Velza is down and unconscious as this guy sort of just like turns back to the group of you, and he like cracks his
How's he
cracks his
looking?
neck. Bloodied. You've put a couple of hits on him, but like seems in pretty good shape. He's a pretty big boy. And he honestly doesn't seem that concerned in the prospect of like fighting the rest of you with like most of his guys out of the fight. He seems pretty confident.
He is.
That is going to bring us to the goons. So most of the goons are running. The goons that remain are going to try and they're going to use their action now to try and break out of this.
Oh, I dismissed the booming blade and I had on the one. If they're running, I'm gonna
Sure.
let them.
Brahm, what is the save on the vines there?
A 16.
Is it a strength save?
Check if they're
Check.
in
It's a
it.
strength check. They just make it. They get a 16 on the nosy. So these guys like kind of struggle their way out of the vines and begin to run. Based on positioning here, Osrius, Alar, Liana, the soldiers, Velza's unconscious. Basically everybody except Brahm and Walter are in position to take opportunity attacks against some of these guys if they want.
I had moved down 30 feet towards the king, So
That does not put you in range of these guys because they were another like 15, 20 from there.
okay, they're not gonna run past towards the exit.
They are like they might be running towards you, but like no one is going to run past. Like they're fleeing, so they are running like away from you guys, and anybody that comes near you is giving you a wide berth. Osrius is going to take an attack, as I feel that is what Osrius would do. He will hit a guy. I'll mark some damage for that. He's going to do... Ooh, that's a lot of damage. Okay, he does damage to that guy. And in fact, the big boss goon takes an attack. As one of the guys runs. Holy shit, that might still be enough. It is. As one of the guys goes to run past, he just uppercuts him with the glaive. And the guy does like a full flip. He didn't quite catch him with like the blade of it. He sort of hit him with the flat of it a little bit. So he like it's like a game show, one of those obstacle course game shows where like the people run and they get hit by like the whammer. This guy runs and this dude catches him upside the chin with the flat of the glaive, and he does like a full somersault and lands on the ground, and then like gets up and like scrambles off, like leaving a trail of teeth behind him. As the big guy like kind of watches him down and goes, poof. That is their turn. So they are, for all intents and purposes, out of the fight at this point. The assassin dudes are still in the fight. And now, Brahm is up there with 4 of them by himself. So what is going to happen is that 2 of them are going to attempt to tackle him and try and like restrain him, as the other 2 come to try and like stab him. Oh boy. A 5? What's their strength modifier? They did a bad job. +0, so a 5 and a 2. So Brahm, go ahead. Go ahead and make 2 contested strength checks.
Hold on, I'll say what I would like to do.
It's athletics or acrobatics. One of the
Athletics or acrobatics to try and deflect them.
Okay, that is a 24.
Sure.
And a 19.
All right, so with
I say what I would like to have done?
with the gap between those rolls, you can just tell me how hard you clown on these guys as they try and trap you.
So the way I imagine it, they're like, get him, and they come running at him, and like Brahm is just like, and it takes 1 step back, and then they just like bam into each other.
Sure.
Like Marvin Harry style, just wham into each other.
Don't we have? Hang on, my wife is looking for a computer charger. Don't we have like 100 of them in this house?
Griff news.
Griff took it. I don't know if
Griff
he's-
took it.
Griff is trying to pretend like he had nothing to do with it, but we all know the truth.
He's definitely not on screen, but like spiritually he's on screen.
Sorry, I don't think I did. I don't know. Well, I was looking for a charger for her Surface, and we have 2, between the 2 of us, we have 2 Surfaces, so we have 2 chargers, and Adam gave me a charger one time, so we have 3 Surface chargers, and she can't find any of them. I have to look to see if any of them are, like, in my...
The dogs don't do like weird nesting stuff, right? Where they like, take all their toys and put it in one spot.
No. I have a feeling I'd find one of them in the closet of all my stuff if I looked. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Stream can't
Oh,
see
I
it,
got
but for
one!
us, it was. He just opened a door slightly off camera that is 100% just filled with shit.
It's not even filled with shit, it's just boxes.
Boxes.
Unopened boxes.
And then with joy, screamed, "I found one!" and ran out of the room.
I don't think he's muted. I think stream got to hear the triumphant.
With a saga.
I'm gonna do this.
It's not filled with shit. It's filled with still packed boxes from when we moved. That's all.
And what's in
that's
those
all
boxes? Boxes
all
of
the
shit.
things. That is a box filled with 5 years of memories of D&D. That's the game room. Is in those boxes in there.
So a Globobob mini in a box of shit.
No, the Globobob mini's on my desk. Nerd. Stream can't see that. It's green. It's just like,
wait,
it's
put
just
it
an
back up.
invisible cube in my hand.
Put it in front of your face. I guess it's still.
Oh, that's even better.
Ew, gross.
He's got no face.
Oh yeah, no, that's upsetting looking.
Doesn't
You just
show
see
the
his
face.
eyes.
I'm waiting for my stream to catch up.
Anyway, what were we doing? Oh yeah, two guys ran into each other. The other two guys, well, since they failed, I guess the other two guys are gonna try and grab you now, as like these guys are trying to take hostages at this point. God damn! They rolled a well, one of them did okay. They rolled a 5 and a 15 respectively. So Brahm, you got to make another athletics or acrobatics contested check.
22.
Okay, so like Three Stooges style, Brahm just like whoop 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 whoop, like these guys like.
I have a banana peel somewhere in my stuff.
I imagine he's like playing the Bandor and just like playing the Bandor around them as they're trying to capture him.
And the main guy's like don't fuck it, just kill him to death. You don't have to capture him. Come on. Oh my god, this whole operation is quickly falling apart. And that is going to bring us to Sir Tyrus Luther, who has been kind of pushed out of the immediate fight by Leanna Highhaven. And he says to the kind of the main guy, he says, "Your compatriots are weak of heart. I would expect nothing less of cowards such as they to betray their kingdom. Give up now. You may be spared." And the big guy kind of goes like, "Dear Lord, do you even hear yourself? You sound ridiculous. And I told you, this is not a live or die or win scenario. We're playing for time, mate, and you're out of it." That is Luther's turn. He's not going to do anything else, because he got beat within 1 hit point of his life before. Osrius is up. Osrius goes, "Meat skins talk too much." And he just is going to take 2 swings at the big guy. One of which is a crit. The
Oh,
other
yeah.
which is a 4.
Well, you can't win it all.
Okay, 10. 16. 18. 22. 25 points of damage for that greatsword attack. All right, which our friend, the thus far nameless bad guy here, doesn't love.
You bothered to ask his name.
No one has bothered.
No, it's fine. I just made an entire interesting character with a full backstory, name, and family, and nobody wants to ask about his motivations or his name.
We know his motivations.
Do
We don't care about his name.
It doesn't matter to me if you guys know his name or not. I just have to keep referring to him as, like, this big goon and the bad guy. And I just want to make it clear to the viewing audience that that's not because I'm lazy. It's because they did not ask his name, so I don't have a way to refer to him.
It's because we are.
Yes.
It's not because he's a big goon. It's because my players are big goons.
Excuse you.
You know what you did.
That is that's Osrius' turn. Oh, he'll bonus action do 3 more points of damage to that guy.
Why not? Sure.
Yeah, because he should. Okay, and that is going to bring us to Walter.
I'm going to run around to get behind Velza.
Okay.
Try to avoid the attacks of opportunity. I'm going to hope. How many feats of movement is that roughly?
You can get there with 30 more.
Okay, so I'm gonna get there to her to behind her on the other side.
Yeah, so like it would have been, like you probably could have gotten there within 15, but to do it without like getting, you have to kind of sort of circle around the mob. So you can use your full 30 to kind of go around the group to get behind her without having to run through a bunch of like fleeing bad guys.
Yeah. Okay, and then I'm going to reach down and say, "You're not out yet." And then I'm going to spare the dying. It doesn't restore her hit points, but it does restore me hit points.
Okay.
Because of my ability.
Stabilizes her though, right?
It stabilizes her. She's stabilized. She doesn't have to make death saving throws unless she gets like whack-a-mole again. Which is interesting. She's stabilized, so it resets the death saving throws. I think she's still unconscious, but
she's still unconscious and she will not make death. Yes, it will. It will like reset.
It would reset if she had any. So so she's gonna get stabilized. I'm going to heal 1d8 plus stuff. 1d8 plus 2.
Okay.
My defy death feature.
The soldiers are going to rush in alongside Osrius and attack the big guys. 3 attacks against him, 2 clean misses and a hit, dealing 6 more points of damage.
Sorry, I had one more thing I was going to do.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
It's fine. It's not really relevant. I'm going to bonus action. I'm going to use this thing I've had since I made this character 2.5 years ago. I'm going to drink this antitoxin.
Okay.
So for the duration, I have advantage on poison saving.
No, neat. Okay. Walter just roots around in the crusty ass bottom of his bag and like pulls out a bottle that he got
head goop.
He rubs the dust off the label of this bottle, and it's like a little like skull and crossbones. But then on top of that, it has like the no smoking like cross out on it. It's like no poison. Yes, antitoxin. So you have advantage against poison.
For an hour, I have advantage on saving throws against poison. Which
technically, I think, probably because this does not inflict the poisoned condition. It just like does poison damage. But I'm gonna give you the advantage on the saving throw because it's very funny that you have a 2-year-old bottle of antitoxin.
It's been in every climate. It's been in weird time space nonsense.
Very good.
Probably smells like old socks.
All right, so while you're drinking an extremely flat Dr. Pepper out of the bottom of your bag, these soldiers do some damage to the big guy there. Liana Highhaven is going to rush forward, and she is going to attack him. And as she brings her blade back, you see it begins to glow with a golden light. She will in fact hit, dealing. There it is. 8. Ooh, max damage. 11 points of slashing damage plus. Where are you, Divine Smite? There it is. Plus another 2d8. 11, 13, 16 points of damage total. Okay. He's this guy's starting to look a little rough around the edges here, as you guys are like now everybody's just sort of like dogpiling on this this last guy. As Liana Highhaven takes her turn here, and we go back to the top of the order with Alar, there is now a second like explosion from somewhere outside the Parliament building. This one is much closer than the first one was. And I think that's about all you guys are able to glean at this point. This explosion, you kind of like hear it in the distance, and a half a second later, you sort of like feel the building kind of shakes a little as like the shockwave ripples out. A little bit of like dust comes down from the ceiling rafters, and the big guy. Even as he's being like repeatedly pummeled and is like being put on the defensive, trying to like block with his glaive, he sort of like catches a half a second, and he holds one hand up, and he goes like tick tock, and he goes, I don't know why I did this, is we haven't established whether wrist.
I was saying, are wristwatches canonically in this game now?
I don't know why I did this. That is going to be Alar. Up to you at the top of the order here.
Okay. I am so glad I've been holding on to this for a while. Alar, from his back, draws a short sword, which the big guy and the four assassins may recognize as ones that they've been wielding, with a small coating of whatever it is that they've had.
Interesting.
He got this all the way back at the transit station.
Interesting. Okay.
Does an 18 hit the big guy?
Yes, an 18 hits the big guy.
Whatever that saving throw is for the poison?
Yes. What is the saving throw for the poison? There it is. He will make the saving throw.
It is...
It's just Uno Reverso.
Where are we at here?
So, 19, and yes, I will use Booming Blade because I need to do as much damage to this guy as I possibly freaking can.
He fails the save for the poison. So
okay, so he
roll,
takes.
it's a short sword. So roll a short sword damage. So d6 plus your strength.
Dex, but yeah.
Sure. Add whatever other spell stuff you're gonna roll there, and then you're gonna add an additional 7d6 poison.
Okay, so 19 piercing.
Okay.
2 thunder, so we're at 21.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Rolling.
You know, he said 76.
7.
And
Jesus.
33 more, so that is a grand total of 44 points of damage.
To steal a line from a DM who I have never watched the stream of, but can respect as an icon of the game. How do you want to do this?
He's being battered on all sides. He smiles. He does the thing on his wrist. He's saying you're out of time, and he just happens to catch Alar's eye as Alar moves in and goes, "So are you?" As he drives the blade under the waist of his armor and up into the rib cage.
Very good. So he's probably like too big for you to like lift him up in the air.
No, he's not trying to lift.
But he definitely
Alar's...
and he sort of like looks down at it, and he sort of like looks he like looks back up at you, and he just goes like, better run fast to try and he doesn't finish his thought as he just like dies. Sword.
As Alar pulls the blade free, he looks at the 4 assassins. This is where you start running.
Make an intimidation check with advantage.
$18.
Okay. The four of them who are currently like kind of like bumbling into each other as they were trying to grab hold of Brahm, who just is like running away from them. The four of them sort of like survey the scene. They kind of like look to each other. You see they sort of like give a listen as well, hearing, having heard that like explosion, and they without any type of word, they like kind of like retreat and start to back off, as they are now closest to the the door that you guys came from, and they begin to back off. You don't get the sense that they this is not the other guys fled, right? Like weapons got thrown down, people started running. These guys are like retreating. So for all intents and purposes, like the fight is over here. They are backing off unless any of you are doing anything to them. But I'm not even no rolls required. Like, you do not get the sense that they are like going to run away. You get the sense that they are like backing off to wait for like a better opportunity, or for their own reinforcements to arrive. But they like back away and exit the chamber, leaving you
As
guys
one of them
out
goes to
combat.
leave, I'm gonna as the closest one to me, I'm just gonna be like,
Make an intimidation check.
okay.
I'm gonna roll contesting. That's how we'll determine this. Okay.
That is an 18 plus 12.
18
18
plus 12?
So,
I took
yeah.
expertise in intimidation.
Yeah.
That's a 30.
He
Oh
rolled
my
an
god.
8. So Brom, Brom, you go like, and he goes, and then you hear him under his breath as he turns away. He goes, "Fuck." He's like, "God damn it!" As he backs away. Okay, so you guys are out of combat, and you are left alone in the room with the carnage of everything that happened. So there's like the bodies that you guys created, which is like a fraction of the bodies that are currently in this room, as there are dozens of corpses like scattered all through this chamber, from before you guys got here.
I'm gonna ask Oz to drag the big guy into the chamber with us.
You going into
Alar
the back? Where you think
Alar's
the king
making a
is?
beeline for the
Wait, where I think the king is, yeah.
the defended room. Hi. We need to go.
So as you guys are kind of coming in this way, the King Oldo will like step out, with you. He has a sword in his hand as well. He has like discarded his like royal mantle, his like big fancy heavy cape. He's thrown that away somewhere so that he has freedom of movement. He's still wearing sort of like the platinum circlet around his head. The large like bushel of dreadlocked hair that he has is like, kind of tied back. And you see in the chamber with him is about 15 like just various folks. Some of them are members of parliament, it looks like. A couple of them look like they're just like attaches and things like that they're in here, but this is like the group of people that survived this onslaught, and made it back to this room. So they sort of come
Is
working their way
Tabitha
outward.
Delka there?
Yes, Tabitha Delka is
Okay.
in fact in the chamber.
Good, because that was about to be a whole separate side quest.
No, she's
Uh,
here.
Walter's gonna with Alar's like exasperated like hurriedness. It's gonna kind of like dawn on Walter, like I don't really have time to like interrogate this dude's corpse. So I want to fish around for his sending stone that he had on him.
Yep.
And I want to fish around for that, and then I'm gonna point at Velza and say like, can anybody bring her up like she should be okay, but we need to get her up, and then I'll just like fish around for the setting stone.
Okay. Make an investigation check. Let's see what you find on this guy's person.
Another 10.
10. You don't know what the fuck he did with this sending stone, and you don't have time to really thoroughly search him, so you can't find it. What you do find, you pull from inside his. He's got like he's this dude was wearing like full plate armor, and you kind of like root around underneath that, and you feel like there's a sort of like a chain around his neck, and you pull the chain out, and you find on the end of the chain there is a. It's about, I don't know, 5-6 inches long. It is a crystal, it looks like. And as you sort of like hold it up, it is you realize it's not a crystal so much. It is like a it's like a cast that has been made in the shape of crystal out of some sort of a like clear substance that like has like hardened and solidified, but you see that like cast inside it is a single red feather.
All right. I'm gonna like look at Oz. It's like we don't have time to look for it right now. Let's look for it when we get to safety. Can you just take the whole guy?
He sort of looks. I guess, and he like picks him up, throws him over his shoulder.
We'll search him and interrogate him later. Just let's go.
He's dead, right?
He's dead.
We don't need the whole guy.
There might be useful things on the body.
He's got a sending stone somewhere that he was communicating with the guys outside. I don't have time to look for it right now. Let's just go.
There are, I believe, conditions to your mask,
Yeah.
right?
It doesn't say. I don't.
Because you have to be the one to do the killing blow. That's like the only difference is like if you have to kill him to get the ability off, then like that can't be done. So I need his mouth.
No,
bits.
it's not. I don't have to kill him, but I'm seeing if there's like a he needs to have died within 30 feet of me. Was he dead? Was he within 30 feet of me?
You never moved from the top, right? No, he was not. He was about 50 feet
No.
from you when he died.
Sorry.
There's a time
okay.
for portability, but for now, I'm gonna gesture towards all the people that are like, with this many people here, we don't need to be that gruesome.
While they're ushering themselves out, Alar's going to run back over to Velza and quick survey. Oh, thank the gods you have one. He's going to pull the potion off of Velza's belt and start feeding her a potion of healing. So if you want to roll it, Brittany. And while he's doing that, he's going to yell, "Someone get the king one of the guard's armors."
King Aldo is like, that will not be necessary. And he just sort of like pulls his like collar down a little bit, and you see that there is like a very lightweight but extremely like high shine with like a little glint of like almost greenish to it, like sort of like chain shirt underneath his doublet.
Fancy lad.
All right, then someone grab a cloak for him so he's not so obvious looking.
As Alar is shouting, I sit up. I'm just gonna look around and go, okay, I think I'm done hanging out with you guys.
We got one more stop to make.
I look at Highhaven like,
She comes over and she sort of like helps you to your feet and like kind of like dusts you off and like straightens your lapels a little bit. And she says with only like a hint of like biting severity, she says, I believe my instructions were to leave my attaché in the condition in which I left her with you.
that's not their fault. That was mine. I was the one being stubborn. It's okay.
She says,
And I just lean over with my hands on my knees and go, Oh my god, that's like 3 times in 3 hours. I'm done.
I'm gonna use my last second level spell slot to cast Cure Wounds on myself.
Okay.
And I rolled max healing.
Nice.
So I'm not almost dead anymore.
Hey.
I'm
For
gonna
now.
like look at the king and say, I'm terribly sorry for this, but as I am currently lightly, and I'm just like gesture at myself. I think I have a way to help, and I'm gonna disguise self as King Oldo, as he is.
Interesting.
Ooh.
Okay.
I look at him and I go, should I do that too?
You know what? Yeah, I'm also gonna do that.
I was just gonna do that.
Alar will
Spartacus
Oh,
time!
I'll just turn it
Yeah,
over.
Alar will burn his last first level spell.
Mine's a cantrip.
All of a sudden, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 extra kings in the room.
If Tabitha Delker isn't armed herself, Alar is just going to snap out an arm, and the collapsible rapier will form up. I remember you being pretty good with one of these.
You offered that to who?
Delker.
Okay. She'll take that. And she nods.
What was it? Because I have a rapier if anybody needs it.
There's a
I mean, I have a standard one, but if she wasn't armed,
Okay, yeah.
Alar's going to hand that off to her.
she'll take that. She does produce from like within her the what are the term for those like big like dresses that medieval
Petticoat?
ladies wear?
No.
No.
I know what you're talking about.
From
I
within
can't
the like billows of
wire
her, like,
cage
yeah,
dresses.
of her like frock or whatever.
Wire cage
she
dress.
takes the crossbow, but then or the rapier, but then she does also like produce a crossbow from somewhere. She goes I will put it to good use if I so need. And you guys all like begin transforming. You do the old Mad Eye Moody.
I feel like we're all slightly different versions.
You're 6 Harry Potters, and you're ready to go.
All right.
That's very cool. A bunch of a gaggle
King
of
Onos.
decoy King Roland Oldos.
The King
Okay.
Ono plan.
How far
Look,
from
I'm
here
Oldo.
to the,
Howdy,
to the
howdy.
Aspergate?
Sir Tyrus, he says, from the exit of the parliamentary building, it will be perhaps a 5-minute run if we make a brisk pace.
We can't use the main entrance. It's still held by the enemy. We have to use it, one of the side windows.
He says, very well then. It might cost us a minute, but it should be no different.
All right, let's get moving.
All right. So.
Velza, whichever one of the hell of you is at, thank you. You're in the middle. Your Highness.
No. Your Highness in the middle.
No.
I'll be right
That's
next to him.
obvious. Trust me.
Hey, why don't we just rotate every so often?
Yeah,
It's fine.
Just keep moving.
Yeah, just.
And I thought he was Aldo, not obvious. What is happening right now?
I
Let's
go
go.
over and I whack
We're
Ron
gonna
upside
take
the head very
1d4
lightly.
psychic damage for that bad joke. No. So okay, you guys kind of make a formation. The group of you. So you're a group of, at this point you're close to. You're like 20 some odd strong. Like 15 dignitaries. Plus the 5 of you, 6 of you, and then you include the King, Luther, Tabitha Delker, Highhaven. You have a corpse. So
Give this guy's the corpse King Ono.
You're quite a mass. You guys make your way through the darkened and deserted hallways of the building, the parliamentary hall. As you guys get to, are you going to like the same sort
No,
of
that
like
was a
wing
third
that you
floor
guys
one.
went to? So you going to the same side of the building, or are you going
Yes.
like okay? Fair enough. You're able to do that pretty easily. You do find a an office that has like a small sort of like veranda, so you guys are able to basically go out, like walk out a set of like bay windows, and then like climb down just off of like this little, balcony that's only like 4 or 5 feet off the ground. So it takes you, a minute to like get all of these people over this balcony and down onto the ground, but you guys are able to get out of the building. Everybody make me a perception check.
12.
God damn it, 13.
14? 14? 14?
19.
19?
18.
Okay. It's quiet as you guys get out of the Parliament building and begin to like make your way back towards the street to then head. From where you exited, you basically have to go counterclockwise around the sort of the ring here. You exited on the like east side of the Parliament building. You have to go counterclockwise around the ring of the upper ward to get to one of the 2 gates that leads to that can get you into like the keep, into Castle Mithlinde. It is quiet as you guys exit. Brahm and Velza, it kind of dawns on you that like it's too quiet. Like there was like 60 Mithlindian defenders holding a barricade at the gate, which is like less than a block from where you guys are now when you guys went in here, actively like repelling invaders. You guys kind of like look back in that direction as that like gains your attention, and there is like a pillar of smoke drifting off up into the sky from what you clock to be right where the gate was that the defenders were holding.
I whisper to Highhaven that I've noticed that there's no sounds from back there. But I don't stop the group, I just keep moving.
She kind of like turns in that direction as well and looks, and she says, "I fear the worst. We need to move quickly."
We told them about the bags, the satchels. Maybe somebody got a lucky shot. We can hold hope until there is none.
We can't help them now. We gotta get to the gate.
You guys begin to move through these city streets. You guys move as quick as you are able, which is not as quickly as as you would be able to be moving if you were, just like a small group of like you guys. But you have 20 people in tow. So it is not subtle, and it is not especially fast. It is, a brisk trot as opposed to like an all-out sprint, because you're trying to keep everybody confined and watch your corners and your angles and your rooftops and things like that. You make a few minutes of progress. You make it to within a few hundred yards of what where you kind of know the gate is up into that leads into the Castle Mithlinde and the keep itself. Everybody give me another perception check.
Also, while we do that, I would like to be doing something, but
Sure.
I'm going to text it to you as it is something
Okay.
that
20, not natural.
Okay.
Solid
I
9.
make the check first.
Natural 20.
4.
4. Cool. Okay. So, I'll give Russell a second to type this stuff out. So, Velza and Alar, it is going to be you that is going to like catch wind of this. Let me go ahead and make a roll for some of the like critical NPCs at this point. Oz, I don't think I'm going to roll for. He's just like dealing with carrying this heavy ass armored body. Oldo doesn't roll that great. Tyrus Luther rolls terribly. Highhaven rolls very well. Tabitha Delco rolls okay. Alrighty. So probably Velza, Alar, and Liana Highhaven notice this. I want to just see what Brahm is about to send me, because the thing that you guys notice might alter some stuff about whatever it is that he's doing. Let's see. Interesting. Okay.
I don't know if it's anything's gonna come of it, or if it's gonna be necessary.
So okay.
A thing.
So Brahm, you are doing that as you guys are running, and I think that is a good reason why you rolled that 4. I think that's a good narrative explanation. Like, you are not paying attention to like what is going on around you, in the sense of like keeping an eye out for like incoming danger. Your senses are extended in a different capacity as you are focused on this, and you are pretty successful. I'll tell you, how that plays out when it becomes relevant. Alar, Velza, and Liana Highhaven, you guys notice as you get within 200-300 feet of the gate, you kind of enter into the sort of the open square that is bordered by like shops and some other things, and the gate is here. The gate is currently closed and is manned by a number of Mithlindian Kingsguard who are like inside the gate, waiting to like open it up and let somebody let you guys come in. You see all this. The other thing you see is that on several rooftops you see the shift of movement, allowing you to catch sight about a moment before it becomes too late, as something like 50 archers begin to like pop up from rooftops around like the outskirts of this area. What do you guys do as you spot this motion?
I'm going to dash straight for the entrance.
Okay.
And I'm gonna yell scatter.
Okay.
I would yell archers on the roofs. I would just scream.
Okay.
Yeah, ditto, and
well, let me rephrase. As soon as they say archers, like I'm gonna yell scatter and sprint for the entrance.
Okay. And you
so
currently look
hopefully,
like the king, right?
Yep.
Okay.
We all do.
Yeah. Well, yes, but specifically because he's doing something kind of different. I just wanted to make sure he's a king lookalike. Okay. So, here's what happens. You guys shout archers on the roofs. Everybody looks up. Walter yells scatter and like takes off at a sprint. Some people follow you. They like run with you. Others kind of take your advice and like begin to mill. Most of them, a little bit much to your dismay, most of this gaggle of like politicians and dignitaries, like deer in the headlights, they freeze in this like clump. They don't know what to do. These archers pop up along all of these like buildings scattered around the like they're all on the opposite sides of the streets, like away from the wall to the keep itself. In response, you see a bunch of archers like pop up along the wall of the keep, as like Mithlindian defenders are there as well. Fewer than like the group that has gathered here. From like side streets in front of you, and then like especially behind you now, you hear like a bunch of movement as troops like begin to close in around you guys. You guys are not necessarily like, you're not cut off. They are not between you and like the gates, as they have, they're not, they hadn't positioned themselves in places where like the keep and the castle and the guards on the battlements there could see them. But they like spring up and are, they've basically penned you in like this, where the castle keep is here. As you guys, begin to scatter, a voice like rings out through the streets, and it says, "Everyone, halt! I would have words. with the King of Mithland Day, lest any more unnecessary blood be spilled. What do you guys do at that?
I would probably, like, if everybody else looks like they're gonna stop and do it.
It's
then
really
Brom will
like
too.
you guys. The dignitaries and stuff like that are with you are like they're civilians. They do not have like the fight or flight instinct is not well honed in these people. They are not used to this type of situation, so they are very much like don't know what to do.
I will
bumping
stop then
bumping
because
each
like
other's.
the
Yeah.
chances of like more time to figure out what to do as opposed to like just getting riddled with arrows is probably smarter.
Walter's gonna like slow down and like cluster the group that followed him together.
Okay.
So like it's just so it looks like the king plus one group is
Sure.
in a like was heading for the gate and is now stopped.
Okay.
Yeah, Alar was starting to move, but then he'll slow to a stop and try and gather up a few of the dignitaries.
Yeah, I'll move towards a group that like branched off a little too, so it looks like we're all with like a group of people plus a king. Copy.
And very quietly, Alar will try and speak to Brom. Now is the time for the greatest performance of your goddamn life.
So
It's Sir Nigel Dewsbury with the steel chair.
Ba-ba-na-ba. The group of you stop, and a large contingent of Ignian forces begin to like move from adjacent buildings, and alleyways and streets and things like that. You are very quickly surrounded. There are archers on the walls. There are defenders in the gates. They are like also holding position as like they have arrows trained, but it is very clear that like the first person to instigate something here is likely going to result in like a barrage of arrows just like murdering everybody on the street. So like they're not doing anything yet because they don't want to get their king killed, obviously. As you guys are like penned in, a few moments later, a single individual comes from like within the group. There's several like two lines of these troops like part, and this individual comes out. They are riding on a horse. It is not it doesn't look like a horse that like this person brought with them. You don't think it's not like a war horse wearing like Ignian war horse armor. It seems like they just procured this horse from somewhere. It's actually got like Mithlandian like cavalry dressing. But they're riding atop this horse. They kind of like ride out of this group, dismount and stride maybe 3-4 paces in front of the first line of their troops. Somebody comes and like takes that horse and leads it back out of the way. You see this individual reaches up and they have a kind of a high sort of narrow white and gold trimmed helmet that has these two sort of like forked points that almost emulate like the sort of like the shape of like a pair of elvish ears. And he lifts this helmet from his head and moves to put it under one arm. And you see this long mane of like pure white, very sleek hair drapes down out from under the helmet and falls to about halfway down his back. He is like all elves, it is really impossible to determine his true age, but an air of like venerability sort of radiates off of him. And he looks across the sort of the group of you with these like dazzling emerald green eyes. And he says, "I am General Etar Rondel of the Imperial Army." And he sort of like, you see he like looks at like all the Aldos and he says, "I desire a parley with King Roland Aldo." What are you guys doing, if anything? Because like I'll give you a
Is he
second
looking at
before
any one
like
of us
the
in
real
particular?
Oldo does anything.
Is he looking at any one of us in particular?
He's
No,
looking
he
at
like
all of us.
he sees like, oh, they're doing like a red herring thing. I don't know. Like he doesn't seem to know which one is the real
Okay,
Oldo.
so there's not anybody. He like very at
No,
least
he-
obviously doesn't see through the illusion.
does not seem to be. He has addressed you guys as if like he sees what you are doing, that you are like disguising the real Oldo among a bunch of imposters, and he is like waiting to be like somebody step forward as the real king and like do away with the this like illusion magic.
I will step forward, and also I will say that Brahm would have just done Aldo like the physical features, but used the
Studded armor,
studded-
glamored armor.
the glamored armor to like do the clothing, so like
Sure.
hopefully like giving me a better chance of
Okay.
it looking fake.
So you step forward. What do you say?
I don't say anything, but I do step like
just
I
step forward.
essentially step up to him,
Um,
or within like 10 feet of it. I
Sure.
make it very clear that I make my way to it.
you step forward, and he looks to you, and he is going to. He kind of like turns his eyes to to the group, and he says, "I would that you dismiss the enchantments on your decoy kings. I prefer that we have this conversation on the level, with as much of the air of misdirection dispelled as possible. You have my word that this parley will be honored, but I would ensure that I am speaking to the real king."
So I'm going to like cast message at Highhaven.
Okay.
Um. There's something I want to do, but I don't have time to confer with the rest of the group. I'm gonna say try to get everyone to safety, and then I'm going to step forward out of my crowd
Okay.
and dismiss my illusion,
Okay.
and then request. I'll say I've dismissed. Can you guarantee that the people with me, the non-Aldos, can at least enter the castle?
That will depend on the context of my conversation with the king. It is my sincere hope that this can be the case.
Can I, for giggles at this point, because we're stuck out here, can I insight check him to see if I believe that he really does want this to be a parlay? This is gonna be a massacre.
Yeah, you can, yeah, go ahead, roll insight.
I will do the same. 19.
I'm also going to do it, especially because I'm standing
Sure.
Yeah,
pretty
you're
right
standing
in
right
front of
there.
him. Natural 20,
I got a dirty 20, so
making it a 24.
So, he's very hard to read. There's really nothing in his, like, body language or inflection that would indicate to you that he has, the things he's saying is like is an outright misdirection or a lie or any sort. But with those level of insights, the 19s and 20s and nat 20s and stuff, you get, even though you don't necessarily sense that he is like lying to you or is trying to mislead you. He like just something about his like his vibe, like the part of your hind brain that is like still from like primordial times as your primitive ancestors were clawing to become civilized organisms, the part of your hindbrain that recognizes like a predator is telling you that like there is something wrong with this person. So you don't. So that's what I'll give you. You don't get the sense that he is like immediately, you know, he's like lying to you and he's like, "Show me your king so I can have my boys blast him." But like, just something about his vibe is like dangerous.
I mean, does it help that like he pretty much flatly declined my request to like get the non-kings to safety?
That's what I'm not.
So yeah, so I mean, he told you, you know, you said can the other people who are not kings go into the safety of the castle, and he basically said, his wording was very specific. He said, I sincerely hope that can be the case. That depends on the conversation I have with the king. So this was all very like even keel, very sincere. You know, in that, like, you definitely get the sense, you know, with your insight check that, like, he was not lying. He meant what he said, but he meant what he said. He would like to let them go into the castle. That depends on the conversation with the king.
All right. I mean, I've already blown my cover, but he also sees my spooky eyes, so...
He does.
I don't know if that's... means anything to him at all, but
you don't see any reaction to him from the spooky eyes.
Seeing that Walter has played into this, having already died enough times, Vels is just at her wit's end with all of this, and I would assume I probably would have been close to High Haven.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I just pat her on the back as I step around, like, away from her.
Mm-hmm.
I keep the king's shape, and I get near, like, more forward, kind of putting myself, like, I'm imagining kind of level with, like, where Walter is, like, on a line, and then Brahm's ahead because he's closer to him. And I'll drop.
Okay.
And I just look at him, and I say, "You've come here and destroyed our home and killed many people, and now you ask for parley. Make it worth our while." And I'm stuck on the fact that the description you gave of him is very close to how I picture Velza. So I'm staring at this dude like, why do we, like, we look very similar.
Dad?
Yeah, not like that. Like, I know who my dad is, but like, I'm trying to, like, I
Sure.
can't place him, but I'm just like, we
Okay.
look, like, it's kind of like that, like, high elf to high elf buddy
Sure.
kind of.
Okay.
Does Alar recognize the name or the person?
Make a history check.
history check. It's a history check.
14.
With a 14. With a 14, the name General Nurael Etarandel is probably passingly familiar to you.
He doesn't have like a name like the Butcher or the
No.
Slaughterer or something like
No,
something
he's-
an obvious
The
tip off to
child
go.
murderer.
No, we
No,
can't
he's
deal
not like Nurael, the backstabbing bastard general. No, but he is General Nurael Etarandel, one of the high generals of the Imperial Army. With that 14, I don't think you know anything more like specific about him other than like, you know, this is like a major, you know, one of the major, you know, generals of the Ignian, you know, Imperial Army.
Yeah, I'll draw even with Walter and Velza and drop my disguise.
So now we have a Brahm King and the King, right? Is that our last? Okay, so he's sort of like, he's looking at you, Brahm. He's looking at the actual King Oldo. He's looking at the two of you. And he says, I would have this discussion sooner rather than later, if one of the two of you would so kindly oblige.
I'm gonna wait like a couple seconds to see if the actual king like moves or does anything, and depending on what he does, then I will react.
Okay.
I'm sorry we can't like cast disguise other person.
Yeah, that's why I was like,
I'm like,
okay, I wasn't sure. I was trying to give you guys the opportunity if anybody had the ability to like disguise him. I wasn't sure.
I mean, I've got my ALAR does have minor illusion, but that's
That's
minor-
fine.
minor illusion is minor
I
illusion,
just didn't
it's
want to
not-
step on your guys' agency if you were going to try anything tricksy, but if you guys don't have any cards up your sleeve, I think the king will like step forward. He'll put a hand on your shoulder, Brahm, and he says, "It is well, my friend. I'll speak to him."
I will dismiss, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna stay where I am.
That's fine. So he's kind of like he takes like a step in front of you, so that he's like talking to the general, but you guys are like right with him, and that's fine. And I think probably Sir Tyrus comes up with you guys as well, to be like within reach of the king. And Aldo says, "General, your reputation precedes you. I would hope that we had met under better circumstances, and I could say that it was an honor. But given the fact that you are currently invading my home, you will excuse me if I skip the pleasantries." And General Tarandel says, "Understandable, Your Highness. I too regret the content of the conversation that I am forced to have with you. It was not my intention for events to unfold as they have. But this is how the fates have seen fit to play out. I would like to discuss the terms of your surrender." And Sir Tyrus makes a noise, like an outrage, like sort of noise. And the king sort of like holds up a hand, and he says, "I see," and he looks sort of, he kind of looks around and says, "You seem to have us at somewhat of a disadvantage, General. Why opt to speak when you could just as easily overpower us?" And the general kind of pauses for a minute, and he sort of like, he almost seems to be like daydreaming for like a moment, and he comes back to the present, and his eyes sort of sweep over the group of you, and he goes to address the king. Before he does, his eyes like land on Osrius, and you see like the slightest furrow in his otherwise perfectly smooth complexion, and he turns away from Aldo and he turns towards Osrius and he says, "A Goliath. It has been many years since I have encountered one of your kind. Tell me, Stone Skin, from what clan do you hail?" And Osrius kind of like curls a lip, and he says, "I have no clan. I am no name." And the general says, "Come now. I see that you have made the statement as evidenced by your fashion choices." And he points to the leather like breastplate that Oz wears that you see, you guys know has like no name carved into it. He says, "Spare me the semantics. From what family did you hail?" And Osrius says, "I am Osrius of Madrokia. Not that it means anything to you, meat skin." Everybody make an insight check.
Natural 1.
Okay.
Natural 20. 22.
Okay.
Oh, that's rude. I almost got a 20 and then it bounced off the friggin' side of the icon. 14.
17.
17. Alar and Velza. When Osrius says, that he is Osrius of Madrokia, the general, you see that affects the general. His eyebrows, his narrow, perfectly manicured eyebrows, quirk up a fraction of an inch before he settles back into that mask of neutrality. The name Madrokia means something to him, and he he looks at Osrius for a prolonged 5-6 seconds, and then his attention drifts back towards King Uldo, and he says, "Your Highness, I beg you now, look across your city." He gestures behind him, and you guys, the upper ward is elevated above most of the city, so you can see a lot of the expanse of the city stretching out before you. He says, "It does not burn. The night air is not filled with the screams of its citizenship. It was never the intention of the Empire to inflict harm upon the population of this capital. My soldiers have conducted themselves per my orders and exhibited restraint to the maximum. The defenses have been neutralized. We have secured the city. But excessive force has not been used. However, circumstances have changed the calculus. The teleportation circle was destroyed. I now find myself here with only the forces at my disposal. So we are at a stalemate, you and I, King Uldo. We play for time. You reach the castle and attempt to hold out until your reinforcements come. I attempt to seize the city before that can happen. Understand, Your Highness, I am burdened with the sacred purpose of seizing this city, and I would prefer to do it with as little bloodshed as possible. What I propose is this. Surrender yourself to me, Your Highness. Allow my forces access to Castle Mithril Day and the Keep. He nods towards Osrius. And your compatriot of the Madrokia Goliaths as well, surrendered into my custody. These are the demands I make of you. And King Uldo says, bold demands you would make. Surrender my throne to you. Give myself to your custody. Have my soldiers lay down their arms. Simply give you the city. And the general says, yes. Or the alternative. Failure is not an option, and yet I am forced into a limited number of paths that lay before me. I have no reinforcements coming, at least not expediently through the teleportation network. I have only the men at my disposal to secure and hold this city. A prolonged siege, a war of attrition is not among my available options. I am... He sort of drifts off again. Forced to make concessions to my initial plans. Surrender to me, and you have my word that my edict against inflicting undue harm will stay as it has been. Your city will not be damaged. Your people will not be hurt. Refuse me, and I will pursue the only course available to me to ensure that I achieve my goals before defeat is my only option. Refuse me, and my soldiers will drag your citizens from their homes, and they will be brought before the gates of your keep, and they will be put to the sword until their bodies pile high enough for my soldiers simply to march over the corpses atop your battlements. This is an outcome that both of us, I think, should prefer to avoid. How are any of you reacting at this point to this conversation?
I mean, I've got an itchy trigger finger, and I'm mostly dead. But
Yeah. I'm watching Aldo very closely and waiting for whatever his decision's going to be, because I report to High Haven. High Haven is loyal to him. I am following the chain of command.
Yeah, damn it. Yeah, ALR will speak up then.
Okay. What you got?
An unwanted outcome.
He
No,
shifts his eyes to you.
I've heard the Ignian soldiers speak. I've heard the stories, the boasts, the 4 generations, grievance and rage. You may have your orders and you may have your edict now, but I know the blood will be shed. Now, or when you have your victory. For 4 generations, the Ignians have sat behind their borders, stewing over the loss of what they consider theirs, and what they will do when they have it back.
He considers you for a while, and he says, "What is your name?"
My name is Alar Cabot Jr., but that means nothing to you.
He says, "I think you are mistaken as to what means something to me. You speak with conviction. You believe in the cause which you fight for. That is important.
Just because we stand opposed on opposite sides does not invalidate your position. However, we are not in the appropriate setting for a prolonged socio-political debate. The situation as it stands before us is unchanged. I must secure this city with all haste. I believe the most efficient way to accomplish this is to do so without prolonged bloodshed. Nay, refuse me now, and I may even fail in my task. I do not have more soldiers coming soon. It is possible that the scattered defenders of Mithlande may coagulate and force us from the city, or put us all to death. That is possible. But I can assure you that the death toll will be in the thousands by the time we are routed. As I say, I should think this is something that...
He's talking to King Aldo now at this point. He's kind of like shifted his attention away from you, Alar.
This is something that you should desire. Senseless bloodshed is wasteful, and in this case, its avoidance is useful to my own means. I shall offer you this as a show of good faith. Yourself and those traveling with you now have free passage within the walls of the keep. My men will stand down and let you pass safely. I will give you until dawn to give me your answer. Surrender yourself, the Goliath, and you have my word that any residing in this city, so long as they keep the peace, will not be harmed. Refuse, and your people's blood is on your hands.
King Aldo says, "You will allow us to pass now, beyond the walls, into Castle Mithlande."
I will.
He looks to the group of you. Just to sort of gauge, like if any of you have anything, like he's just looking to you. He's interested to see what you guys have to say or what you're thinking or anything like that.
Baylor said his piece. He's just he's staring at the general.
I am grinding my teeth nearly to dust, but I'm not saying anything.
Okay.
When I see him look at me, I'm gonna like look at him and just kind of like I was like thinking and nodding about like what the person was saying, trying to figure out like what our best thing is. And I'll realize he's looking at me and it's like, sorry, and I'll like disguise self and put myself back to regular Walter.
Okay.
And I'll just say, I'll just like quickly like to the generals, like, I apologize, it's far less unsettling this way.
Okay. Brom, anything? Okay. The king then, I think, is going to say, "Very well, General. By dawn, then? The general says.
By dawn.
And the king says, you will have an answer. And he turns toward the collective group of you and all the other people he has. He says, onward now, to the keep.
I'm gonna keep close to the king's back. Just in case there's a last second double
Sure.
cross of arrows
Kind of like
variety.
Yeah, you guys are really close his ranks around Oldo.
Alar will probably be the last to turn leave. But he'll turn his back and.
Okay.
As we're like going past the threshold, I'm going to like turn to the general and say, I'm like hold up one hand and like point at the ground, and I'm gonna say, does this mean anything to you? And I'm gonna write the word for sacrifice with Mold Earth in Ancient Invarian.
He looks at the grounds, and he looks back to you, and he says,
Ah. It is rare. Find one of your kind outside of the Empire with any knowledge of such things. Fascinating.
And I'll turn and leave. I'm not gonna respond in any other way.
okay.
Oh, I'm gonna let the word sacrifice linger there, though. just as a last second sass.
Sure. Okay. You guys make your way kind of through the crowd. The general doesn't really move. The Ignian troops, just watch you guys. The kind of group of you, like, just walk, the last few hundred feet. The Mithlindian soldiers, from within, when you guys approach within, you hear a call go up, like, gate, and the sort of like the gate, the portcullis is opened, like just enough for you guys to like enter, and when all of you are through, the portcullis is slammed shut again.
Is the portcullis see-through? Can you see through it to the other side?
Yeah, it's like
Just a standard like cross gate,
yeah, cross gate basically,
like a hash.
heavy duty like metal.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yes.
I'm not sure. I think I dismissed Morgan before, but I was gonna, if I could summon her inconspicuously or tell her to perch up on the wall to watch what's going on, like I probably would. But if she's currently disappeared, then I'll wait till I'm out of sight before I do so.
Okay.
But Morgan's gonna definitely go up on the wall and watch.
Sure. So, in the vein of Morgan being on the wall, as the group of you guys make your way, like in and then up across the grounds toward Castle Mithlinday, Brahm, you were doing something earlier. You have got. Let's do this way. Walter, you kind of see, you're looking, kind of like looking through Morgan's perspective. You see her on the wall there looking out. The Ignian troops kind of just are holding position. And I think what we see is, like, as you guys, the party like makes their way up towards the castle, the perspective of our god's eye sort of like detaches from the group, and the group walks further away from our sight and starts heading up into the castle, and we sort of shift perspective back outside to the the exterior, and we see this sort of the general finally turn away, and somebody brings that horse back, and he mounts back up on the horse, and the Ignian soldiers begin to meld back into the into the alleyways from which they came, and the general atop his horse is kind of just slowly the horse is walking through the street, and someone relatively high up sort of comes up alongside him, and looks up in the direction of the general, and we hear him say, "Do you think that the king will take this offer of yours, General?" And the general kind of like looks down, and he says,
I believe he will. He is at his heart a noble man. He will not allow his people to die, simply so that he may sit upon a broken throne.
and the commander on foot kind of like looks up and he says, "And the consequence that you set, says, really would you put the people of the city to the sword?" And the general says,
As I have always done, I will do what I must. May my soul answer for its crimes in the life beyond.
and we see as he and this individual walk away, our view shifts down, almost a street level to the cobblestone streets, and we see lurking in the shadows among the gutters and the refuse that line the streets and the corners of the alleyways. We hear the skittering and see the movement and the tiny, like, and we see dozens of rats lurking, bearing witness to this conversation.
And I would like to add that their eyes faintly glow purple.
And we sort of close up on the purple eye of a rat, and we zoom in till all that we see is the eye, this purple eye of this rat, and then we pull back a little bit, and the purple eye is the eye of Brahm, and clutched, his hand sort of in front of him, he holds, sort of like twisting it around his finger, the ring of the rat that he had taken from the Rat King Garl in Mithlinde. And Brahm, your sensation from the rats under your command breaks as you are privy to that last bit of conversation. And that is, of course, where we will end tonight's session.
Oh boy.
So,
Never forget the rats, baby.
never forget the rats. So, thank you guys for joining me tonight for this episode of Delve Requisite. We will be back next Tuesday, same bat time, same bat channel. Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Same rat time, same rat channel.
Rat time, same rat channel. Right here on Proficiency Bonus for the Pirates. The Pirates are going to be next week, and they are in a bit of a predicament of their own, as they are about to charge headlong into a cave filled with Ignian naval soldiers and some stranded pirates, as their compatriots battle on the high seas to lure off an Ignian battle group heading for the pirate haven of Glasgow. And then we'll be back the week after that, which is, I believe the hang on, if I can get my dang calendar to open. Yes. So next week, the week of the 29th, will be the Pirates episode. The week of the 5th will be the Fool's Errant again, and that is, in fact, not to the day, but it is, I believe, our 3-year anniversary of this campaign. April 1st was the
yes.
April 1st 3 years ago was.
It took me literally almost 3 years to use the antitoxin that I've had since I created this character.
So thank you for coming out and hanging out with us. Thank you guys, as always, my players, for indulging my high fantasy storytelling. And we will see you next week. Thank you and goodbye.